Hello, BookTube. I know I said you'd be done with me for today, but then it occurred to me that this is the end of May. June is almost here, and that made me think there are a couple of items of housekeeping that I wanted to cover before we go back to my regularly scheduled book hauls and rants. Uh, Three things, mainly. The first one being that in May, this channel reached and then surged right past 900 subscribers and is well on its way to 1,000 subscribers, uh, which is mind-boggling to me. And I have a plan for what to do to celebrate 1,000 if we reach it. And the plan is also mind-boggling, certifiably insane. So if we get there, I will happily divulge. Thing number two, of course, is that June is the beginning of the Hot and Sticky Summer Novel Writing Challenge from Strip Cover Lit. I don't know how many of you have decided that you're going to do it. I definitely am, and I think you all should too. It's 488 words a day for June, July, August, and September, at the end of which time, if you do that, you will have a good start on the beginning of a novel. And who doesn't want that? Which of you doesn't want that? The guys at Strip Cover Lit will be doing encouragements and updates and whatnot, and I will be too, and I think a lot of other people will be. It's a great way to pull together and get some writing done, and if you haven't done that, you should. It's a feeling like no other. And the third thing is book related. Surprise, surprise. In this channel, we open a lot of books together, and I often say that I will report back on things. But since the month is over, I wanted to make sure to show you some May releases that I wholeheartedly recommend, and that I recommend you either read if they're in your subject matter, read if they're not in your subject matter, or consider as gifts for all the people on your list who might fit in their subject matters. It's just a handful, but I wanted to show them all to you to make sure that we'd covered May before, it's June. And the first one is by Bronwyn Dickey. This is Pitbull. And it is her study of the history and the recent cultural appropriation of the breed of Pitbull. The injustices that have been done to them. It's a wonderfully detailed and heartfelt book. And as someone who has had his face smooched by more pit bulls than he can count, I wholeheartedly recommend it. The next one is probably for the Middle Eastern history or military history fans on your list. This is Lawrence of Arabia's War by Neil Faulkner. It's one of roughly 1 billion books on Lawrence of Arabia and the Middle East of his day, but since he was one of the architects of it, and since his story is fascinating anyway, I of course read this and just loved it. Faulkner just knocks it out of the park. It's great as military history, it's great as guerrilla war history, and it's a very insightful look at Lawrence himself. So, highly recommend that one as well. Sorry, baby. Oh, baby. Next one is a reprint. The people at Picador reprinted Colin Harrison's novel Manhattan Nocturne, which is coming out as a movie. And because it's coming out as a movie, and because I guess the publishing world estimates, rightly or wrongly, that the American movie-going public is somewhat deficient in the little gray cells, they retitled it Manhattan Night and stuck Adrian Brody's face on the cover. But it doesn't matter what the cover of the movie adaptation looks like. The book is great. It is, for those of you who love mysteries and noir, fast-paced, action, personality-driven, stuff like that, Colin Harrison is not an author to miss. Next one is something that I've shown on this channel, and I don't think I've talked about it. It's Allison Anderson's debut novel, The Summer Guest. It's a braided novel, 3 plot lines. There's a woman in the present day who has a manuscript that she wants translated. She's hoping will save the fate of her small publishing company. A manuscript of a young female doctor who, for a couple of summers, knew Anton Chekhov at their summer home. And second thread is the woman that she hires to translate the book, and the third thread is the actual book. And it's doesn't read like a first novel at all. It was remarkably assured and sensitive and wonderful, and also it has a MacGuffin that it keeps you guessing about right to the end. So as a summer novel, I recommend it strongly. Next one is by Jennifer Ackerman. This is The Genius of Birds, and it is just what it says on the tin. It's a study of how birds are smart, the ways in which they are smart, not only clinically and intellectually, but also socially and emotionally. It's a book that, they've been appearing for some time now. I think interspecies cognitive science is finally starting to grasp the idea that if you give non-human animals a bunch of human intelligence tests, you'll get just the results you want, and that they make no sense at all in the animals world. So those of you, if you know, animal fans, bird fans, stuff like that, this is the book to get. It's one of the best of them, and also by far the best written. And the last thing is, I don't know if I've even mentioned it on this channel. It is Sid Mukherjee's book, The Gene. This is in some ways his follow-up to his gigantically popular and critically acclaimed book, The Emperor of All Maladies, about cancer. And this is just about the history, structure, and mind-numbingly complex functions of the human gene, which might sound like, it's a big science book on genetics. It might sound like rough sledding, but it's not. I don't know if you've seen any of the pieces that he does sometimes in the New Yorker, but he is one hell of a writer. I feel certain he could write about the most abstruse science subject in the world and still make it just compulsively readable. So, popular science, readers just in general, a good recommendation, a great reader on your own, and that's it. Those are some May books that I wanted to make sure we covered before we move on to June. And I think that should be it. Just a little bit of housekeeping to wrap up May. We've got more books to look at tomorrow, but then it'll be June, and we'll all be writing, won't we? Anyway, I'll see you tomorrow, BookTube. Thank you.